piling in. It's the pod where the nonsense and the football begin. Woody's got opinions, Ben's ready to debate. Nick and Rich dropping takes that some will rate. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. Sweden town pride, loud with them. This is where the game fun begins. Watson's on fire, Nick's got the stats. Craig and Kieran stirring trouble while Joe just laughs. Arch, Mark, Goff, Gary, and Barry's join the crew. If you love Swindon Town, this one's made for you. Bassett and Corson, we shout them out loud. Women's football rising and making us proud. Archers recruitment keeping dreams inspired. Tires sorted cheap, cheers to save on tires. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. Swindon Town pride, loud within. This is where the game and fun begin. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. Swindon Town pride, loud within. This is where the game and fun begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. Swindon Town pride, now within. This is where the game and fun begin. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. Swindon Town pride, now within. This is where the game and fun begin.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Monday and welcome to the kickoff to what is a very, very busy week here on FRI with streams planned 4 times this week, including tonight. Lots of things to keep an eye out on. But let's not get ahead of ourselves because we have got what I'm sure is going to be a deep cleanse of the soul after what was a soul-crushing day at the county ground on Saturday. In the lobby, we already have 2 fools. We have 1 guest. We have another guest joining us a little bit later as well as we look back and look forward. And I asked the question, do we need to mind the gap? And the bigger question is, which gap is it we are minding? Is it the gap between us and the automatic promotion spots, which the positive fools amongst us will say, look, it was disappointing, but we're still mathematically able to achieve? Or should it be mind the gap of falling out the playoffs completely, which the more negative fools, including myself, have now said at least once is becoming a real possibility. It is quite a concern. So we have MK Dons, we have Gillingham, we have intro questions and everything in between. Speaking of intro questions, what I'd like to know from you and from tonight's panel is something that people often find surprising about you or something they don't know about you. Quite a depth one to get us started tonight. To give you an example, a man of my vast physique, it tends to shock people when I say there's actually quite a lot of foods I don't like. They are particularly surprised when I say I don't like a Cornish pasty. Not a fan at all. I also don't like a pork pie. And the one that seems to really confuse people is when I say I don't like mushrooms. But I know I think anyone that does like mushrooms, it is borderline psychotic behavior. But there we go. Let's see what tonight's panel have to say on that before we get involved in everything else. Starting with the man who was here nearly half an hour before the show started because he was desperate to get a few things off his chest before coming across as the on-screen personality that you now see. Evening was.
No, it wasn't. It was you and the wife trying to play a bongo bingo night. Come on now.
That's true. That also happened.
Yeah.
By the way, W's in the chat if you want content of Fools Rush Bongos Bingo, and it's just videos of us long pissing about at the bingo. That'd be class. Absolute class. how are you, mate? We haven't seen you for a little while, but we all know you've been to Cheltenham now. I think it's fair to say. I got a call from you after your first visit to Cheltenham, and you were a little bit worse for wear. I got a voicemail the day after your second trip to Cheltenham, and you sounded in a real dark place. How are you today?
Mate, I'm okay. Yeah, it was a good week. I love Cheltenham. Everyone knows that. Yeah, it was class. Not a great week on the punt in front, but 2 days on the beer with a good group of us.
Tuesday was good for you, wasn't it?
Tuesday, I had a good day. Tuesday was a good day, and then Thursday wasn't so great. But I took the wife on Thursday, and she had 4 winners, and I still try to work out how she had 4 winners. But she's one of those.
She's just better at it than you.
Yeah, 100%. I'm one of those. I'm a researcher. I do it all year round. I love it. And she turns up, looks at the book, and goes, "Oh, I like that colour, or I like that name," and that's probably the only way to do it, really. But yeah, mate, it was a great week. Yeah, I did sound broken in that voice note that I sent to you on the Friday.
Honestly, I was crying.
Well, I used to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I've never done Gold Cup Day because I just find it a bit too much busy. I've always done 3 days, but I have to, the last few years, I've had to cut the Wednesday because I need the day in between because I just can't do it no more. It's just hard. But
you're not getting any younger, are you, Was?
Not getting any younger, and the hangovers.
When you get to our age, the important thing to know is you should not be having big nights out.
Yeah, the hangovers don't get any easier, do they?
No. Not that I would know, but no.
What? Oh, yeah, you don't get hangovers.
I don't do hangovers, at least not in the traditional sense of the term. Mike says, was it here to say how much we're missing by Prof? Wow, I don't. The proof's in the pudding, isn't it? Well, no, I like Ripley, so I can't be too critical of Ripley. Oh, you can. You can.
Yeah, well, you can, but
we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. He's not the main problem at the moment, is he? Really?
Oh, what is something that people often don't know or find difficult to believe about you?
What do they not believe? Do you know what? A lot of people, but like, and I know I always relate to Save on Tyres when it comes to this, but a lot of people always,
free advertising and all that.
Yeah, they didn't know that. Yeah, well, yeah, that's the reason. But they didn't know that we were actually. It just assumed that we were like a national sort of thing, or not like a regional sort of thing. Not that we were just family run. That's always been. And when I spoke to a lot of people, they were like, "Oh, boss, you run that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So it just always relates back to Save On, mate, to be honest. Another one is that a lot of people, and I don't know if it's because I'm that bad at it, a lot of people go to me, "Oh, you play golf, Was?" And I go, "Well, attempt to play golf." Do you know what I mean? A lot of people go, "Oh, yeah, you don't seem like that for a golfer." And I'm like, no, I kind of get that, yeah. Especially when they watch me at my first shot. Yeah, definitely. Then they'll go, yeah, definitely. I was right to question it. But yeah, that's 2 little ones. Yeah, it was a tough question tonight. That was, to be fair.
If we ever did a fool's golf day, do you assume you would win? Given that I think you're the one of only 2 of the 15 of us that actually play golf.
The thing with golf, it depends how you're setting it up. Because with the handicap system, if you lot are all ready golfers that like just basically, you know what I mean, just turn up on the day, I'd probably have to give you a load of shots.
I like a good shot one.
No, not what you're on about, mate. You know what I mean? But so yeah, that's it. It probably wouldn't be a gimme, but I would be definitely confident. I'd have to be in like the top 3, the podium positions. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't play again. Yeah.
Okay. Fair. All right, let's bring on another fool, shall we? And say for the first time this evening, hello and good evening to Woody.
Good evening. How are we?
Very well, mate. Self?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Sorry, I didn't join the pre-show. I was scoffing down a ready meal, but the of which I can say, guys, like that the wasabi range, right? Wasabi bento, you won't be able to see because the camera's reversed, but absolute banging. Had the sweet chili chicken one tonight, and I've never had a bad one of them. Just if anybody Wasabi Limited or whatever they call want to sponsor us, then please get in touch.
Fifey, just going off track slightly, we found the reason why Swindon's slump in form happened. We've worked it out.
Okay.
Because Woody hasn't been coming to games, mate. That's what it is. We've worked it all out.
Well, that doesn't bode well for tomorrow because he was going to the game until Saturday's result happened, and now he says he's not going to the game.
Yeah, I don't fancy it tomorrow now. All of a sudden,
No, strange.
but yeah.
Woody, what is something that people find difficult to believe, or something shocking, or something in that realm about you?
I think when people first, I guess, get to know me, obviously you guys will, but it's a kind of an ongoing joke with you guys. But I think when I tell people I've got 4 children, they genuinely are like, "You've got 4 children," and I'm never sure whether they think they're saying that because maybe I look a little bit younger than I am. Probably not. Or whether they're like, "Oh my God, you've got 4 children. How do you live?" But and then
I feel for Alicia. She's got 5.
yeah. And then probably the other one is just probably when I talk about how much time I put into football, and everybody's like, "How do you do that on top of a full-time job as well as having kids?" So as well as doing a podcast, as well as trying to play darts every Thursday, as well as so it's they probably
Woody's
wonder how
getting married, everybody.
yeah. There's a secret to marriage, everybody, right? Just never be home. That's the secret to marriage.
That was clearly one of the reasons why mine ended. I was at home too much.
Yeah. Oh dear.
We are not alone tonight, gentlemen. We have got guests galore coming on this evening, and we're kicking things off by bringing on our resident EFL expert. What he doesn't know about League Two is not worth knowing. What he doesn't know about Swindon Town is probably safer for everyone and stops getting them cancelled. Welcome back for the first time since the Newport Watch Along to Liam. Evening, mate.
Oh, the things I know about Swindon. No, I'm joking. Hi guys, how's everyone doing? I don't want to open that can of worms again.
No. How you been, mate? It's been a little while. Keeping well?
Yeah, very well. Just top end of League One. It's weird.
Yeah.
All right, Liam,
you should shut up about that. All right, just shut up.
Yeah, that's enough of that shit, mate. We don't mind you coming on and calling Swindon out. We just don't need you reminding us that you're top of League One.
Yeah, that 5-4 sure looks
insignificant
now, doesn't it, boys?
Yeah. I'd give you that 5-4 back to swap, mate.
Yeah.
Liam, you've been on long enough that we don't just count you as a guest. We count you as a friend and part of the FRI family. So you're very, very welcome to get involved in the intro question. What's something that people often find shocking or unbelievable about you?
Have we got long enough?
Yeah. I think because I can, obviously I'm a dick online. I don't shy away from that.
You're going to say that you're actually quite nice in real life, aren't you?
Well, no. First of all, yes, I am. But no, it's more the fact that I think people get shocked when I tell them that I like cooking and I can cook. I'm a very good cook, and people kind of look and they're like, "Where the fuck do you find time to do that? You're just constantly winding people up on Twitter." I'm like, yeah, between little bits of my cooking, if I find a little time to put a tweet out.
And stir.
Yeah.
Tweet and spice.
Yes. Hello. Eat, sleep,
and they say
tweet,
food
repeat.
isn't a family show.
It is. But yeah, no, that's probably it. It's probably I owned my own cafe, for 3-4 years.
Yes, you told me this.
So for me, I love cooking, and I like just going in the kitchen and just finding the weirdest stuff and just throwing it all together and seeing what comes out the other end. Not what comes out the other end, but what comes out onto the plate before it goes through and then comes out the other end. So yeah, that's just kind of my thing. I like cooking, and people kind of get a little bit didn't expect that. Liv can't cook for shit, so I've got no choice.
Sensational. And it looks like, and I'm sure he can hear me, so he could either give me a thumbs up or thumbs down in the lobby. Our other guest has arrived earlier than expected. I said, don't rush home from work, mate, because after the weekend, we're going to massacre the MK Dons game. We probably won't be talking about Tuesday until halfway through, but he's here and he's ready. So let's bring him on for what I'm sure is an FRI debut. We spoke a lot during the lower league look 606s early in this season. But we have Gillingham fan Chris joining us as well. Evening, Chris.
Good evening. How are we doing, lads?
Yeah, very well. Thank you. Yourself?
Could be better. But no, personally, I'm all right.
Good. Glad to hear it. Welcome to FRI, your first appearance with us. First time we've done a show together where cameras are on as well. It's normally just an audio thing that we've been doing, but welcome. And you know, let's christen this off properly. You can get involved with the intro question as well. A good way to introduce yourself to the viewers and listeners. What's something that people might find or commonly find shocking or disbelieving of you when they first meet you?
Well, I'm sure you know that after knowing me from a little time that people are quite shocked that I actually shut up from time to time, especially with my lengthy messages and especially if you get me on a rant.
John's gone straight in saying, Chris from Gillingham, a bit cold, question mark. We should point out that although you are a Gillingham fan, you're a little bit closer to home for some of our viewers than the typical Gillingham fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I live in Bristol and I'm still at work. I've got another 15 minutes left and I'm just ready to go out the door after this is finished. So
I
yeah.
love that you've logged on while you're still at work as well, by the way.
Thank you very much.
And you're being honest about it. One of the fools
Yeah.
would just pretend to be his dad.
Yeah.
Sensational stuff. Let's kick things off properly then. Liam, I'll start with you. I mentioned it in the write-up of tonight's show, so people on YouTube and Facebook could see it. I did it in the intro as well. A defeat for Swindon Town at the weekend, which the lads will be talking about in a bit more detail shortly. But this phrase "mind the gap," is it mind the gap to the top or mind the gap out the playoffs that Swindon fans should be worried about?
It's both. It's got to be both. You could win tomorrow and be what is it? What would it put you? It put you 2 points outside.
Yep.
Outside the top. You could lose tomorrow. Grimsby pick up. Obviously, Grimsby have got a game in hand. Grimsby win that game in hand, puts them on 59, 4 points behind you. You could effectively, by the time Grimsby have had their games, you could be 1 point looking over your shoulder. I don't know. Really, I think it's a bit of both. I think the question that was asked is probably a fair question about is it the players, is it the management, is it the coaching? And again,
Yes.
It's a bit of both. It's a bit of everything because you have a bit of poor form for a couple of games. You can blame players. You can look at players and say, look, they're not performing. That person's not pulling the weight. That person made this mistake. But then it's up to the coaches and the management to do something about it. And if you get to a point where, I mean, your last 4 games, loss, draw, loss, like that's on management. That's game management. That's not doing the right thing. That's letting Ollie Palmer go to Wrexham on Friday night and then allowing him to
don't
be on the bench.
You'll rile up the viewers.
Yeah, I was so angry watching it myself, and I'm not a Swindon fan. I think that's ridiculous. It's mid-season, and you're in playoff contention. You're pushing for top 3, and you've got a player. One of your players that you've brought in to replace who was at the time your main man up front. You've brought him in, and he's off. Kissing Ryan Reynolds' ass in Wrexham. Like, what's that about? Like, he's got a 3-hour drive back. Whether he drives back on the night before or whether he drives back in the morning, that's not good. If you were playing away at Wrexham, you would have travelled up on the Friday and stayed over. So how on earth is travelling back at midnight or travelling back at 9 o'clock in the morning fair? How's that right? It's not. It's ridiculous. He can't do his proper pre-match. Regardless of whether he goes to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning because he's travelled back then, he's going to have a bit more sleep. Can't do his proper pre-match. His routine's out. Therefore, you've got a waste of space sat on the bench. And do you know what? Whether he went to Wrexham or not, I don't really think that he adds much to your squad. I think he's a waste of space anyway. So I think that's standard. I've always hated the guy. I still hate the guy. But seeing him sat at Wrexham on a Friday night is just, for me, it's disgusting. It's disrespectful. He doesn't play for Wrexham. He plays for Swindon. And Ian Holloway should have had a grip on that. But yeah, anyway, I could go on for night about that. I won't do.
As you can see, Liam's very passionate. He's as passionate as all the Swindon fans about Swindon, despite having no actual affiliation to the club.
For the record, I agree, Liam.
Thank you. It's like no affiliation, like Ollie Palmer, apparently.
Woody, it is getting slightly worrying now. What was just a passing remark so that me and Ben could continue bickering is now becoming factually quite depressing. 5 points from the last available 18.
Yeah, it's definitely borderline concern now, if not on the concern route. I think for me, talking overall, my biggest concern is we seem to be conceding the same goals. We seem to be making the same mistakes. We seem to be, again, I mean, there was a fantastic question there earlier, but my head is turning towards Holloway now in terms of what decisions he's making. Not necessarily.
His
I'm not
fashion
turning.
choices first and foremost, Woody.
Yeah,
Well,
someone needs to
yeah,
take
I
him
mean,
away from jumpers.
Yeah. But yeah. But I just think, not to allude on it because it's not fair that I comment on it because obviously people know my opinion on Palmer. But it's situations like that, either the player's been disrespectful or the club have been stupid to allow it to happen. I.e., Holloway's been stupid enough to allow it to happen. So it's just things like that, and I just sit and go, what kind of stupid decisions are we doing? What we, we'll dissect the game later, I'm sure, because some of the 2 goals we conceded, I'm really annoyed about, and I think also it's just
If I
the
speak,
fact
I
that
am in trouble.
yeah, but it's just the fact that I think to summarise it at the moment, it doesn't feel like, and we talk about the management, but obviously from a player's perspective, it doesn't feel like any of these players actually want to go up. If I'm brutally honest, or they don't. If that's whether that's right or wrong, or whether that's true or false, it just doesn't look like it. Some of the defending, some of the fucking lackluster challenges, and things like that. Nobody chucking their body in front of the ball, and things like that. It's just things like that really, really piss me off. And appreciate, obviously, we've got dear Chris here on who's obviously
Well,
fighting
he's just nodding along. He's just saying, this sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah. But he's probably going, all right, you fuckers, you're still in the playoffs.
Liam, you can take that fucking shite off as well. Fuck right off with your Salford shirt.
Is it 6-4 on aggregate?
So, but yeah, so I'm not gutted I missed Saturday, actually. Normally I'd be absolutely, even if we did lose, sometimes I'd be absolutely gutted, but obviously I had a good result on my end, so it made it a bit better. But it's I'm getting confused. I'm getting confused as to what we're looking to do, what identity are we trying to achieve, what type of style is Holloway trying to do, what type of lineup, what is wrong with the players that keep getting fucking injured. There's got to be something going on behind the scenes that is leading to these hamstring injuries we keep getting and things like that. Because don't get me wrong, we've had squads in the past that have been injury prone, but I don't recall us having so many problems where one injury can just impact the whole fucking team.
What I would say on that point, Woody, is if you remember a season not too long ago, we were signing well-known injury-prone players. Let's use one, Johnny Williams, as an example. He managed to play something like 38 games that season. And we had capable, and I'm throwing it out there. I don't know the people who do it now, but we had capable fucking physios doing a capable fucking job.
Well, we ain't got a physio at the moment, didn't I?
Exactly.
See that in the nicest way. I think it was obviously, from what I could see, it was good to see Ali was back in the dugout, wasn't she? I think on Saturday. Obviously, I'm pretty sure. My recollection is that she's doing just consultancy work at the moment. So we're probably, as much as I love Ali, we're probably paying through the fucking roof for her because she's just doing those one-off pieces of work. So obviously, I love to see her back in there because she's a good egg. But it's just really. I'm going to stop now. Move on.
Can I just ask a question on that? So you like when you support a football club, like you go through periods where you sign players, like you sign up and coming players, but what you really want to see is your club create players. You want to see your club bringing players through that you can, build up. And so you guys have actually done that, but on the injury front, you've gone from signing injury-prone players to now creating your own, which I think that's a testament to the ethos of the club. You are now creating injury-prone players for other clubs to worry about. So, but yeah, look, Johnny Williams. I'd just like to say, Chris, first of all, thank you very much for taking him from that hotel in Leeds. We dodged a bullet. These guys are glad, now looking at how he is now, how it's gone. So yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lovely bloke, but yeah, he's not done much for us at all. He's gone flying a lot, but other than that, not a lot.
I love Johnny Williams though, so I'm not going to comment on that.
Just going back to an earlier comment, Elliot, you'll be pleased to know, he says, Tuesday night's El Shitico. Sky Sports fans aren't ready for this. Can't wait for the subscriptions to drop the next day. You'll be pleased to know, Elliot, they won't. And the reason they won't drop is because Fools are doing a watch-along as well tomorrow. So as shit as the game may be, we'll be here for best part of 2.5 hours to entertain you in the way that only we can. So if you remember the last watch along we did, Liam was there for the Newport game. He and Kieran spent 25 minutes just coming up with the most stupid shit they could think of because the game was that bad.
Could we do a joint watch along, do you think? Because there's a full program tomorrow night and I'm debating, and this sounds bad, and look,
You
I don't
told
mean
me
this...
no, because you told me you couldn't do the watch along because you were going to watch Bradford be matched.
Yeah, I know, but here's the thing, it's boring being so good. So I'm contemplating not going to our game, and I'm away with Bradford Park Avenue on Wednesday night, so I'm contemplating not going and just watching from home tomorrow night. So we could do a, you know, I can have mine on my TV here, and I can have Swindon on this screen here, and I can yeah. Oh, that might have made the decision for me. How bright's my camera, by the way? I look like a fucking ghost. Like
Only Liam could like talk about putting Swindon on the TV and then make it sound like a pornographic movie at the same time.
Well, someone's getting fucked tomorrow.
Elliot says Johnny Williams is the definition of a luxury player. Always looks good, but does nothing. Matt says, don't tend to get injuries when winning. It's only when results aren't going your way. Players tend to become injured more, which is true. Swindon Fan 98 says, I think the players and coaches are starting to feel the pressure on this run now. It's becoming the most important time of the season. It's the same every season. The stage of the season never changes. You have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Every season has an objective. And when you get to the end of the season, you have to reach that objective. So it is no different to any other season. Therefore, they shouldn't be feeling it. Plus, as we all know, pressure is for tyres.
100%.
Elliot says, I agree, Liam, so do the Swindon players. And he's also said, you better be talking about the Romanian third division again. That is if you missed the last watch along, Liam was doing a full scores roundup for us of every fucking league outside the UK that was on that night.
Yeah, the Brazilian women's third division is absolutely incredible to watch along.
Okay, Wazza, talk to us. We're privy to our own WhatsApp chat amongst the group. And it was like a boxing match. I mean, I thought me and Ben could disagree, but fucking hell, Rich and Ben went to town the other day. In one corner, you had Ben, who was disappointed with the result, but he could see the positives. There were definite improvements. It was our best performance in weeks, and we were somewhat unlucky. MK Dons weren't very good. On the other hand, and I will out him for this, Rich left the game early. Because he was so upset with what he saw that he posted a video in our WhatsApp chat saying that it was shit and he couldn't watch it anymore, and he left before the game was even finished. So which was? Because that's two very different reviews.
Well, I said this off camera. I sort of disagreed with both of them, and they both had different opinions. So it was quite difficult, really. Look, the start of the game, we haven't set the benchmark very high though in recent weeks, so it definitely was an improvement. Like our first half performances the last few weeks have been real shite, and we seem to be either behind in games or we seem to be that we're holding on to stay level, and then we push on in the second half, which I don't understand. But it was definitely, in my opinion, a slightly improved performance in that first half. We had some chances, but we sort of seem to try and get the ball down a little bit more as well, which is really, something that we haven't done in a while. Maybe Palmer not starting was part of that, because an MK Dons had two towers at centre half that Drinnan was never going to win headers off. So it was always going to be very difficult.
But on that, just picking up the points as you go along, surely both Ian Holloway, being the master tactician of over 1,000 games in management, and the players themselves would know, if that's the case, the one thing you don't do is this Route 1 shit that we've been playing for months.
Yeah, and it wasn't all that through the game. Definitely not. We seemed to try and get the ball down. Kilkenny was Clark in the middle as well, made a massive difference. We've been crying out for this for ages, that we need to see Clark consistently in the centre of the park, and we saw that. He was definitely our best player, him and Taff at the back. It was just nice to see someone that was willing to head the ball at the back or get get first contact, which was what we needed. But I do agree. I think I don't know if we were kind of unlucky for the goals, but we created our own.
We weren't. The goals were fucking shite.
Yeah, but then like Woody said, I agree that it's just consistently the same sort of goals that we're conceding. And I said this at the end, that we seem to have to work really hard for our goals to score, and we have to do something really well, or something has to be done properly, whereas we can just give them away. And that is exactly what we done. We didn't learn our lessons. Tom Nichols lost the ball in the first, the first 30 minutes, and there was a chance where they went through on goal and he skied it over the bar, which just cost us then. And then he done it again. And so Ripley's come out and had a right old go at him for the first one, and they've both had a pop at each other. And then when we've conceded from it, it was Nichols again. So he's not learning his mistakes, that he's still trying to either nutmeg someone or flick it round the corner, when really he just needed to get rid of it. And he was just playing with... But this is the problem, that we've all said that Nichols is bedded into this position well. But when you've only played it for one season, is he really that acute to that position? I don't see it. I'm seeing a lot more mistakes and errors from him now that are really costly. And then we go behind, and we need to go ahead in games at the moment. And that's when it will give us a bit of confidence, because we go behind and we struggle. And Holloway needs to take a lot of slack here, because I didn't understand, on Liam's point, why was Oldacre was playing right wing back, and he can hide it as much as he wants by saying that it was a 4 at the back and that Oldacre was the right of the thing. But Oldacre's not a winger. He's got no pace. He can't take on a man. So if you're playing him wide, he's still in the wrong position. So I can't have... He was denying in his conference, but Andrew Hawes on BBC Radio said, well, why was it looked like Darren Oldacre was in a right wing back position? And he said, well, no, when we have the ball, it gives us in it all those managerial. When we're on the ball, our system's this, and when we're off the ball, our system's that. Oldacre shouldn't be anywhere near that sort of position anyway. So that's completely wrong. So why he's trying to fit these people in, whether I don't know whether McGregor was injured, but Snowden definitely was. But it was just completely wrong. Everything. And for me, seeing the lineup, it just set the benchmark for me. And MK Dons weren't great, but they were better and more effective at doing what we were trying to do across the park. And we gave them 2 goals. And that was that. And it was just, we huffed and we puffed, and we had a few opportunities to get back into the game at 2-1 and even at 1-1. But we got back in the game and we just froze. Like we had a good 10, 15 minute spell up to the goal where we looked like we were back in this and we were going to score and we were going to kick on. But we got back to 1-1, and then the players just went straight back into their shell again, and we let MK Dons get back on top. It was just really frustrating, and I can put blame at all their doors. The players, for me, just not doing the correct things, the management for not getting things right and not getting the selections right. And we can get these players at the moment, they're made of fucking glass. I feel like we've got a team of Jordan Lydons again. Like, honestly, it's so bad. Like, I'm sorry, I really like Tafazoli, but if he can only play 60 minutes in a month, don't put him anywhere near the fucking team. Because it's frustrating as hell. And then he argues that the Ollie Clark situation, we had to bring him back into defence because he was tiring and he was getting injured. Well, if you feel like that, we had Mbete on the bench, put him on for Taff, and then don't drop Clark, or take Clark off. Don't have to drop him back in. If he's tired, take him off. I don't see how it's a lot easier in defence.
Not when you play for Swindon end.
Yeah, just the decisions we're making, mate, across the board at the moment are just really frustrating. And for an experienced manager like this, it's just really he is absolutely flapping. It's just, honestly, I've never seen it. He's so... And then he said last week about making like a substitution at a corner. And what did he do? He took Clark off at the corner when we were defending a corner. And then we've conceded a goal from that. And there's just so much... Sorry, every time I'm talking, there's just something that pops into my head that I remember. And it's just getting to me. It's really getting to me. But it's just bad from across the board. And I think the main blame has got to be at Holloway. I think the decision-making, the tactics, the selection for me is just completely wrong at the minute.
Can I just ask a question? from an outsider's perspective, looking at your stats, and every single game you create a lot of chances.
We fucking don't. Not
No,
every
you
game.
do. Not maybe not clear cut chances, but you have shots. So Holloway seems to have this mentality, and it's something that he's always had of, I'm going to score as many goals as possible, and then defense doesn't become a problem. Doesn't matter what happens. And now teams have kind of gone, not a problem. You're going to leave yourselves wide open at the back. And you look at your stats now. You know, you had more shots on target on Saturday. Holloway sounds so much better when you listen to him on mute. Yeah, I agree. He sounds so much better when he's out of work and he's not got interviews. But you guys, when you look at your stats, you are conceding so many shots. Like MK Dons on Saturday. So MK Dons had 10 shots away from home. And I know MK Dons do generally score a lot of goals. So that's probably an anomaly.
Thing is, the thing that you're not that you don't have as context there is if you actually just watch some of the highlights back, they didn't even have to work for those shots. We were just gifting them.
That's what I mean, though. That's what I mean. Holloway is so focused on at one end of the pitch that he doesn't care about the other. And that's what he needs to now change. He now needs to go, do you know what? I've got a striker that's on 19 goals in the league this season. And we lost who was supposed to be our main striker earlier in the season. Someone else has stepped in. Now we need to focus on the back and stop thinking that the front will just take care of the back, because it isn't doing. Look at Crawley. How on earth Crawley had 18 shots against you, did Crawley? Mm-hmm. But you had 9. You had half of their chances. But you just allow things to come at you. To be fair, that's a perfect comment there, because it's probably a very, very good time to play Gillingham, because you can go and attack and say, we're going to leave the door open at the back, and Gillingham will say, yeah, well, it'd be rude to cross without permission. So Gillingham will sit back and just maybe have 1 shot, 2 shots, might score a goal. But if generally Gillingham, I've said this for the last 3 years, if you score a goal against Gillingham, statistically you are likely to get at least a point out of that game. Because
by the way, sorry, Liam, just to highlight this comment here, how rogue is this? You're now linking a comment by a Swindon fan about Gillingham to a game we played a couple of weeks ago against Crawley, and the one Crawley fan that still watches our show was tuned in at that moment to comment in as well. It's all going on.
But it is that thing of like, yeah, Crawley might have shot from absolutely anywhere, but guess what? They had the confidence to do so because they knew that you guys are so fragile at the back. And they know that Holloway won't make changes to defensively show you up. He'll make the wrong changes and you'll still be weak at the back. Players will play out of position. You'll still invite pressure, because all Holloway thinks is, well, if they score 3, we're going to score 4. That's his whole mantra, and it's not worked.
I want to bring Chris in just for a minute if I can. Chris, I've asked essentially 3 questions in 38 minutes about MK Dons. Okay. Now I want to remind you of what you sent me on Saturday. You said, and I quote, I've been thinking, and you know what? We don't have to play you next week. You can just have the 3 points. All the best. Are you listening to this now and realizing why me and Ben are saying it's not going to be that straightforward for us?
Definitely won't be.
You haven't said a play, mate. Like, I just that like, I'm usually like so positive and like got a lot to say. And I have got a lot to say, but not a lot is good. So like, they're just, and there's a few things that have gone on that like kind of make sense of it. So I've put a thread up about it, but one of the things is that I think Ainsworth's let the players know who's staying, who's going, and that was before the Barrow game. So, and there's going to be a lot of change over the summer. So, maybe 10 plus upwards. So they've probably just down tools, and we're kind of seeing the result of that over the last 2 games. So what we need to do is just literally, we want the season to end now. So we can just all change and then start again next season. But it's not very pleasant around Priestfield or around the Gills at the moment. It's pretty bad.
Woody, going back into the point that you and Woody have started to make then, I mean, if you were annoyed, you can only imagine how, admittedly, I was a couple of drinks in by the time it happened, but you can only imagine how apoplectically angry I was with the concession of the goals.
Yeah, I mean, the first one, Jesus Christ, you could give it to me and I'd bring it in from that with that amount of time. Like, I think the build up to it, the loss of the ball, which was the second time that had happened that game. We talk about, that element's probably not on Holloway. That bit's on the players themselves, so not learning from their mistakes. And then literally just again, I talk about this kind of fight that we apparently, we did. Let's not beat around the bush. We did have it at the beginning of the season, kind of going into October, November time, that fight of never say die and all of this kind of stuff. That's gone. That is completely gone. And, there's no bodies being thrown in the way of that shot. That Saturday, there's no underestimating. That was a must-win game. That was a must-win. That was out of all of our fixtures remaining. For me, that was the one that we really, really had to win. But yeah, and then the second one, well, fuck me, Jesus Christ. I've decided I'm going to ask Swindon for a friendly because my under-10s want to start working on crosses to the back post. And I think they'll get quite a bit of success in that. So it's just another one. Back post goes across, and oh my God, don't even get me started on what the fucking defending was. Like, I don't understand how that player had two other players, two Swindon players near him, and still didn't get anywhere near it.
Let me highlight Pete's comment to you then, Woody, just so that you can really start to get the angry juices flowing. He said, for the winner, I was answering a call of nature, saw the score and thought that goal's not worth seeing because it must have been really soft. The defending was worse than pathetic.
Yeah. And I don't know, but did they score? Clark was off at that point, wasn't he? Because I've not looked at the timings. I've only looked at
both off, yeah.
So Mabete was on, to be fair. But either way, right? It's, for me, it doesn't matter who's on. There is a clear highlighted issue with us defending the back post on deep crosses. And I'm not saying that no coach in their right mind only works on what's going wrong, but at least look like you've worked on it a little fucking bit and tried to defend it, and what is the issue? Is it, Jay's mentioned there about, has Ripley flapped at it or whatever?
I've got a real problem with this, and in Rich's absence, because I know Rich would be going to town on this, I have to say, yes, we do have a very clear issue with being able to defend the back post from either side. But fuck me, what was Ripley doing? What was he doing? He's a fucking goalkeeper. He's not the smallest lad in the world. He's got a big physical presence. Apparently, he commands his area. And unlike every other player on the fucking pitch, he can use his fucking hands. And what does he do?
Do that again, Fifey. just right. Clip that.
Pfeiffer, have you seen that comment? I've just been back through your fixtures this season, and that's horrific.
Yeah.
Oh, we know. And this is why I've said it's autos or bust for us, because we don't have the mental capability for a playoff campaign.
You have only beaten, I think, Chesterfield, Crewe,
Bromley.
and Bromley. That's your three. Chesterfield, Crewe, Bromley. They're your three.
Well, that depends, because now when it suits the narrative, certain positive thinking Swindon fans will also say we beat MK Dons.
Don't say it. Please don't say it. No, don't say that.
Yeah, we beat Chelsea in the FA Cup in 2016. We didn't win the fucking thing.
We beat MK Dons youth team. That's who we beat in that competition.
And Nathan Thompson.
Wasn't Nathan. It wasn't their youth team, but you shouldn't be comparing it. No, but it's we made just as many changes that game. But the it's just,
sorry. Earthling Ben said, "What has to happen to Ripley to get dropped?" Bromley away,
but
Ripley at fault
he's
for the
not.
winner.
Whilst yes, he should have done more there, but you got to remember, a goalkeeper makes a mistake 9 times out of 10, it will end up being a goal. And like, I just, you look at it. Let's be honest, Ward's not exactly the most pronounced against those areas either. So we've got to stop the cross from happening. We've got to deal with it when it gets headed back across. Like Ripley,
I didn't read that one before I clicked it.
But yeah, it's just. I just think that there's two that he does have an element to blame, but then there's so much leading up to it that goes wrong beforehand.
Yeah.
As well, like it's
We actually did the first part of the corner actually quite well. We dealt with it, got the first contact, got the ball away, and then it was just an easy ball back out to the right that we haven't even got anywhere near the guy that was crossing it in to make it difficult for him. And I don't want to keep blaming Oldacre, but Oldacre was the guy at the edge of the box, not made it difficult for the guy to be able to whip it back out to the right. And then he's just got an easy cross to the back stick. And like you say, you don't have to be a miracle worker to realise that other teams are picking up on this. They have their analysts that come and watch us all day long. It happened at Barnet. It's happening in other games that we are so susceptible to a set piece.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Chris's job is actually Gillingham's analyst, and that's what he's on for.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, mate,
the back stick, Chris. That's all you need to do.
I'll tell you what. Every time they play, any time analysts have to look at the Swindon performance, they might as well book a week of annual leave, mightn't they? Because it's just the same fucking thing every week. Like, it pisses me off. I'm so glad I wasn't there. Wazza would have hated me on Saturday, I think, if I was there. I've only seen the 9 minutes worth of the game.
For reference, for those who are interested in things going on around the leagues, well, we should say that the team that was a few weeks ago dubbed the worst in Premier League history have again pulled it back, and it's now Brentford 2, Wolves 2, with a few minutes to go. I know you have a personal feeling towards this, Liam, but as you've heard, there are a section of Swindon fans who are slowly coming round to the thinking that maybe Holloway's broken. You know, he was, this time last year, we were flying. He'd taken us from bottom of the league to outside the playoffs. Now he's taken us from top of the league to nearly outside the playoffs.
At least he's consistent.
Yeah. People talk about he has to drop off after Christmas, but it was the other way around last season, obviously. We were much better from January towards the end. Again, do you understand why Swindon fans are now starting to be concerned? And how much do you think, and I'd ask Woody the same from his experience in coaching as well, how much do you think Holloway and the coaching staff, I won't say solely Holloway, but Holloway and his coaching staff, what percentage of responsibility are they for this complete loss of form, I think Woody used the saying earlier, this complete loss of identity? Because start of the season, you knew what you were getting with Swindon. I mean, technically, you know what you're getting with Swindon now, but it's the complete opposite. How much of this is on Holloway and the coaching staff instead of just blaming the players for not playing well?
I think, like I said earlier, one or two games, it's you can point to the players, you can point to individual mistakes. This is constant. The issue I've got is, choking. The issue I've got, and I've said this not just about Holloway, it's about all these managers that were around in the Premier League around sort of the late 2000s. You know, Jose Mourinho, when Mourinho was at Chelsea. You've got what David Moyes did at Everton. You've got Ian Holloway when he was at Blackpool. All these managers, now you kind of look at them and you say the game's passed them by because they haven't.
Moyes is a bad example.
No, I don't think. No, that West Ham, fine, but he's not the same manager he was back then. Like you wouldn't look at David Moyes now and go, he's gonna go on to a bigger club than what he's currently at. Whereas back then, you did look at him and think that he will eventually go on to a bigger club because he was doing Everton every other year. Everton qualified for Europe, then stopped focusing on the Premier League, played in Europe, got dumped out of Europe, finished nearly in relegation places, and then the year after they went and qualified for Europe again. And that's what they did year in, year out. It was like alternate years that they would just try to get into Europe, and then they were focusing solely on Europe. The game has changed so much in the last 15 years. It is a different game now to what it was. It's a different game to what it was 10 years ago. But they haven't changed. Ian Holloway is the same manager, same tactics, same style, same training regimes. You know, the fact that, Jake Tabor, when he came in, he said, he did that. Is it called what's he called? The run? The
run, yeah.
Yeah. Ian Holloway was doing that in the mid-2000s. He was doing that in the mid-2000s. Like that he's not changed. If you signed for Ian Holloway as a footballer, you know what you're getting. You can speak to a 55-year-old ex-professional footballer and he'll tell you what your pre-season's going to be because Ian Holloway hasn't changed. Jose Mourinho, that's why his jobs now are getting lesser and lesser and lesser. It's why he didn't get the success that he wanted at Man United and at Spurs. Obviously, a bit of a rough time at Spurs. But the game has changed and they haven't. They have their style and everything is the same. And you can read that game. You can read Ian Holloway. You know what you're going to get with him. You just said there, you've got an identity. It's Ian Holloway. And I think it is on him. Granted, there are individual mistakes. You mentioned Oldacre not closing people down on the edge of the box. Fine. That can be pointed at. But the fact is, you were put into a position where you were conceding a corner in the 87th minute at home when really you don't want to be doing that. You want to be pushing on. You weren't creating chances at the other end at that point. You weren't trying to push on and win the game. You didn't look like you were going to win the game. I didn't think. I've watched enough of it. I watched quite a bit of the game at the time, switched it off because honestly, I pissed myself a few times just laughing at certain things that you did when you were on the ball. But yeah, no, I'm joking. But it is. I think Holloway has a big, big part to play in this. And if he's going to be stubborn, you're not going to go nowhere.
Jamie agrees. I don't know if you saw the comment, but he said the worse Holloway's charity shop clobber gets, the worse we get. And we've had Rovers Blue, a cow knit, and a flowery jumper in the last 2 weeks. #fashion watch. Yes, I do keep regularly getting pictures sent to me of what Holloway is wearing in these conferences, and everyone's always on the lookout in the dugout to what disaster class he's putting together.
He's Del Boy.
He used to be so smart. When he was smart, we played really well. Now he's gone fucking rogue. I think Jamie's onto something, to be fair.
When he's wearing that big coat in the stand with his little hat, he's Del Boy, and that's what Ian Holloway is. He's a Del Boy. He's a for me, he's a wheeler and dealer, and he tries to blag his way through it. And you could get away with that back in the day. Same reason that people like Harry Redknapp aren't managing anymore, because that is a completely different way that the game works. And like, yeah, I don't know. I think the game's passed them by.
So on a whole, did you get the sense going into the game and in the opening few minutes that, because again, there was a call to arms of Swindon fans, although there was some pessimism towards it, that maybe it didn't get the same traction as previous games that had the fans called for. But going into it, as you got into your seat and as the game started, did it have a big game atmosphere? Did it have or was there just a nervous energy?
I think there was a bit of everything, mate. I think I agreed with Woody. I thought if we had any ambitions of the top three, we needed to win on Saturday. I think we're very limiting our options now. I can't see us getting to Bromley. I can't see us getting to MK Dons now with the gap. And
Holloway's pretty much said the same himself.
Yeah, the only one you're chasing is Cambridge now. We're in that third position, but they've got a game in hand on us. They're 5 points ahead of us, and they could quite easily, extend that to what it is. So 7 or 8 points, whatever they gain. But at the moment, it's so difficult because we're not doing our job. So you can't think about what other teams are doing and the results they're getting, because we're not capitalising on it ourselves. We don't beat teams around us, but what we were doing very well when we were on a good run is that if we were losing to the teams around us, we were beating the teams that we, on paper in the table, that we should be beating. The likes of your Newports, your Oldhams, your Harrogates, your Barrows, your Barnets. We were, we all knew the Rovers game was going to be tough, no matter what position that they were in, because it was a derby game. Steve Evans' factor for me was a big part of that. And it was always going to be a difficult game. Crawley were fighting for their lives. You know what I mean? They were, every point to them matters, likely for us as well. But now we didn't get the wins against the Rovers and the Crawleys that were a lot lower down in the table. The games against the likes of Milton Keynes and Crewe that are around us have become double important. They've become do or die, and we've lost both of them at home. But it's not good enough. It's not good enough. Look, on Saturday, I quite like the way that Paul Warne spoke, and I agree with what we've said in the chat, that it's quite easily to compliment the team after you've beat them. But I quite like how he spoke with honesty and said, look, I think a draw probably would have been a fair result. And I would say that as well. I do think a draw was probably a fair result. But they did the key moments a lot better than what we did. And that's what won them the game. They've scored 2 goals from mistakes from us and doing the simple things correctly. And we didn't take our opportunities. They did. And they won the game, and rightfully, and they deserve to be where they are for that. But we're just not doing enough, Fifey, at the moment. That's the concern. I don't really look on it like tomorrow night. I won't look at the other results. I'll look at what we're doing, because unless we're winning, the other results are completely redundant, because we're just not doing our job at the moment. And that's what I think we need to get back to. I think at the moment, I think from inside the camp, they're looking at what everyone else is doing and trying to predict and think, and they're taking the eyes completely off the ball of what the only thing they can control is our performances and our results. And we're not doing it enough at the moment. And it is frustrating as how, because we were in a really, really good position and we're throwing this away. And I've got the same thing with you. Is I look at I know the people on the other side of the coin, people will go, well, the playoffs, anything can happen and it doesn't matter. But it psychologically, there'll be something there. If the teams that we come up against in the playoffs, the likes of if we get there, the likes of your Salfords and the crew, they'll look at it and think, well, we've beaten Swindon this year, so there's no reason why we can't do it again. And that's the problem for me. I do agree that I think it is boom or bust. I think we've literally got to try and get into this top three. Otherwise, I can't see us going up. I just can't see it via the playoffs. I'd love to be proved wrong, but I can't see it. But we're not concentrating on ourselves at the moment, and that is what is killing us.
Can I make a point on the playoffs there, Fife? Did you see? I don't know if you saw my point on the playoffs. I don't know if anyone's looked back, but aside from Wimbledon this year, which it looks like it's going to be this year, you can go back to 2016. And so I only went back to 2016 because I got bored of going any further back. Every team that's gone up in the
10
playoffs,
years.
Yeah, so 10 years. Over the last 10 years, aside from Wimbledon this year, where it looks like they will do it, every team that has gone up in the playoffs has come straight back down. You generally, you struggle to stay up in League One. The gap between, and like I know that I make jokes and say, oh, it's it's difficult, it's horrible being good. The gap in League One and League Two is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Wimbledon, I think, are doing it this season because they had 2-3 years under Johnny Jackson of building and getting themselves to that level. They were difficult to beat. Yeah, they had a few slip ups, they had a few things, but it comes back to Holloway. He's managed over 1,000 games. He only has one way of playing. Wimbledon built something for a few years and went up, and I think that's why they will stay up. But generally, you look back, you can go back and you read them and you're like, God, they came back down. God, they came straight back down as well. Every team that's gone up in the playoffs from League Two has come straight back down because it's so hard to compete in League One. It's horrible. It is horrible. We had investment in the summer, and that's why we've done as well. And I maintain that the way we went up, and this is why I laugh about the game we played against you. The way we lost against you did us such a favour, because if we hadn't lost that way against you and we hadn't had to fight until the last minute of the season, the last kick of the game, I don't think we'd have had a good season this year. I think that momentum we took into this season, and I don't think the playoffs is the way to do it. I just don't. And for you guys who went into this season wanting a top three, you wanted an automatic, you wanted a championship. Let's be honest, you wanted to compete for that first spot. You wanted to be number one. If you're not getting that, the playoffs are a secondary prize. So the momentum's gone, the enthusiasm around it's gone. All you'll be thinking going into the playoffs is, well, let's just get this done. And that's what the playoffs have become. They've become a let's just get this done competition for you guys. You go up, it could be really difficult to stay up next season. But we went up because, and that's why I segue onto it. Let me just read that if you want. There, that's the man, Mr. Sarcevic. There, this is his championship 2023 shirt from Stockport. I got it from the club. This is what he won the league with. So.
Dan, the resident Crawley fan, says, quick piece of advice: if you do go up at Wembley, don't sell your entire squad for worst players. Yeah, that would also help.
To MK Dons.
And Sean says, we don't win at New Wembley anyway, Liam, which is also very true. Whilst just going back, you and I want to link in something Woody said earlier. You obviously see Swindon a lot more regularly than, say, I do. So I'm a lot more reliant or believing and trusting in your opinion on this kind of thing than even necessarily my own, because I can't work from as much viewing hours as you do. But what I know there's not one simple answer, but what has gone wrong? Why is it not what it was? Why has it gone so dysfunctional? I mean, if you look at the different areas, I know each area will have its reason. If you look at defence, you could say, okay, it's because Wilson Brown is injured, and it's because Tafazorli is always injured, and Will Wright is out of favour, and that just really leaves Knight Labelle, because for some reason Mabete only gets substitute appearances, and then we wonder why he might be a bit cold. And even though he is technically our best defender, he always seems to be on the pitch when we're conceding goals. Or you look at midfield, everyone was raving. Everyone was raving about the impact Kilkenny was having. Now no one's really mentioning him. Tom Nichols got brought up earlier, I think, by yourself to say, is he actually the answer? This is his first proper full season as a midfielder. Ollie Clark, depending on what your thoughts are of him, yes, he has an impact, but he keeps being played out of midfield. So what? We've got two midfielders that have completely disappeared off the face of the earth. One with figuring Holloway has decided he's a bit shit, despite the fact he plays for Man United. And the other one, I don't think he exists. He's turning into the same as that lad from Celtic all those years ago. What's a middle mass, I think, is the question. Then you look at the attack. I mean, me and you have both argued and then agreed on Dridden. I don't think we need to discuss him anymore. Hoylett keeps being played out of position. Holman is the only one that the fans are resonating with. Palmer, again, is pissing people off by turning up to represent the wrong club. And then Tabor's out in non-league somewhere doing something nondescript because no one's talking about him anymore. Is it a simple case of stop giving good players contracts, because as soon as they do, they stop performing?
The two words that for me is cohesion and style. Like at the moment, our defense is just, it changes every week. There's two changes in that back line every single game, and you just can't have that. Like, you need a settled back line. At the top end of the pitch, you can get away with it because there's different ideas, different ways to hurt teams, different ideas that how you're going to come out on top. But defensively, it should be the same every week. You're there to not concede goals, to limit the amount of chances, and we just haven't got that cohesion. And that's where I do feel a bit for Ripley, because he's the only one that's regularly there, and he's probably got no confidence in the people in front of him. I've got
no confidence in him.
Yeah, I love Taff, and I said this earlier, but if he can only play one game in a month, that's no good to us. He's completely no good. He can't come in and play one game and then be out for 3 weeks. And I just don't know. Like, the only one that's been sort of consistent for us at the moment in the two is Knight Labelle and Batty, I think, have been all right. But then we've got then 2 positions or 3 positions, whatever we're playing, whether it's a 5 or a 3, that we're just completely screwed. The cohesion is completely gone. I'm going to defend Kilkenny because I just think it's coincided with him signing a contract that we just seem to bypass midfield now. Like, it just seems to go long. We're not playing to his strengths and getting the ball down and letting him travel with the ball, which we know he can do, and he's got an eye to find a pass. At the moment, it's just completely going past him, and he's just there to pick up second balls, which I don't see any difference in Kilkenny from effort-wise or to how he goes about the game and how he goes about trying to get on the ball and tackle and defend. I don't see any difference with Kilkenny. I really don't. But people are saying because Drinnan had a new contract and then Kilkenny was before. But I just think I don't know if there's a fear of trying to get the ball down anymore. Jay saying about him playing too safe, but that must come from. I think that comes from above. I think that comes from the management team saying, "Well, look, no, don't go. I want you to do this. This is how I want you to be." I can't have that Kilkenny turns into a bad player overnight. Not for me. Like, I think he's one of our best players, but we're not utilising him properly because the ball's flying over his head up to the top end of the pitch, and then he's then reliant on winning the second balls when it comes back. There's so much wrong at the moment, mate. Like, so much. We just can't keep players fit. There's the cohesion word again is what it is. And I worry for us at the moment because of this, because we just cannot get a consistent team out, because we have got 4 or 5 players that are just completely made of glass, that just can't stay fit, that can't play 3 games or 2 or 3 games in a week. And it is absolutely killing us. And I would argue that the only two defenders, and you can moan at Mabete as much as you want, and people say that, oh, well, obviously there's a concentration, or Holloway doesn't, or something like that. But him and Knight Labau, the two youngest defenders at the moment, for the last 5 or 6 games, are the only centre halves that have probably been fit.
Yeah.
So
and even fit, Mabete can't get in the team.
Yeah, exactly. So what's that giving? Like Wilson Brown, I like him as a player, but constantly injured. Taff constantly injured. Clark shouldn't be anywhere near centre back for me. We've seen his better performances in centre midfield, and we've got enough defenders there. Wright just isn't the same for me anymore. I really struggle with Will Wright, just losing the ball, and defensively, I don't think he's got it. So I think our two best defenders are Mabete and Knight Labau. And we just don't seem, I don't know if it's in his head, Holloway, that he doesn't want to start them because they're the two youngest and he doesn't see it working. And he feels that he's got to have a Taff or a Clark there to sort of help them through the game. But at the moment, they're the only two that you could say that you would go, well, these two could play 2 or 3 games in a week. And even Batty, I would put into that as well. And even you go Joel McGregor, I would say, look, surely he's got to be the one.
I would always pick Joel.
I would go with that youthful back four because at least you know that they're going to get through games and they'll give their all. And at the moment, I just think there's too many players that are going on the pitch and that are managing injuries. So they're not giving, whether that means they're looking after themselves. Do you know what I mean? And we can't afford to be carrying people at the moment. We just can't. We need to be winning games of football, and we're struggling with that because you feel like there's games that are people that are just managing through minutes. Like Taff, it was obviously already arranged that Taff was going to come off after 60 minutes on Saturday. So if he can't do 90, why the fuck's he even in the team? It really, really frustrates me. And that's what, in my opinion, that's what's killing us at the moment. We just haven't got. Yeah.
There's 2 things I want to pick up from that, and one that I'm going to pass over to Woody. But unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get your wish, was because all Holloway's spoken about since Saturday is the fact that he's going to have to play as many of his experienced pros as possible and just bring on the young players to be fresh and free at the end. So you're not getting your young defence, that's for sure. But Woody, it's a great point that was made, and there's some references to it in the chat as well. I was actually going to highlight Batty, but I'll throw Mabete in the mix as well. I know I will do your caveat for you that Holloway has coached at a different level to you, so you wouldn't necessarily be in the same situations and make the same decisions as him. But Woz has just said there, Mabete and Knight Labau are our best and most fit and consistent defenders, and yet Mabete very rarely gets in the team. What can that be doing for his confidence? The one I was going to raise is Batty's come in as a left wing back. I think he's actually played left wing back once since he's been here, generally being deployed as a centre-back, and yet all he keeps hearing about is the player whose position he's took, who wasn't even our player to begin with. What must that be doing for his confidence? Is Holloway, and this stems again into what Liam was saying, either Holloway knows his team very well and how to get the best out of them, which would appear on the basis of current games that that's not the case, or he is destroying these players for no rhyme or reason. What's your thought on his player management style with those sorts of examples?
Well, if you're asking how the players are feeling, you should ask them yourself.
I'd love to, but just like Andrew Hawes, they're not allowed to talk to you.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. Thanks for ruining my joke, Fifey. But the well, kind of all of what Wazza was saying as well. It leads for me. I don't necessarily fully buy into Notion, but I do agree with the point that Liam was making around being old-fashioned managers, because I do think managers can adapt to times. Holloway obviously hasn't, but there will be managers who can adapt. Like I say, at different levels. But I've adapted the way I coach, so if I can do it and I'm doing it voluntarily, surely an experienced manager can. Not doing it voluntarily, but used to do it voluntarily, and I used to adapt the way I coached. The one thing that I think all of that, like Waz was saying, just summarizes under one word for me, really, and that is arrogance. In terms of Holloway, for me, and we knew he was an arrogant person, and I didn't necessarily dislike that about him when he came in, to be totally honest, but it does boil down to that. It is almost like if all the fans and everybody who criticizes, everybody who pundits is saying, Holloway, you need to keep the same lineup, he will do everything he can to make sure it's not the fucking same lineup. It's that kind of arrogance of, you don't tell me how to do the job. Now, and let's be honest, we probably don't have a massive right to, but if we look at all these injuries, right, and I still stem this, it comes down to this whole make-believe managing minutes situation that we had in that congested fixture period. We were much better off trying to pick a consistent team and decreasing levels. If we go on percentage, decreasing levels slowly by 190. When somebody drops below 70%, you replace that person, and then you keep doing that and then that. But what we ended up doing was we ended up rotating everybody. So everybody got down to about 70%, started getting injuries and hamstring injuries, which are fatigue injuries. You very rarely do a hamstring injury in any other fashion. And it ended up going all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, so yeah, and all we've done now is we are now continuously playing on players that keep having to top up their fitness, and that's because we just used everybody in that pit. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have rotated in that, especially in that congested period. There is an element that you need of rotation. But the fact is, we literally rotated almost 5 or 6 players every single game. So not only are we losing that consistency, we are also damaging those players' individual fitnesses. And not to mention Mabete, who, let's be honest, you spoke about obviously being one of our best defenders of concentration. I don't remember the last time. I think Mabete's been injured once this season. So he's also the least injury prone probably out, because Knight Labelle was out for a while as well. Let's not forget. So it's just, I just don't understand. And I put it all down to, and I picked this up because I was quite angry at Holloway's interview with Halls, to be totally honest, this weekend. The previous time I wasn't that bothered. I thought it was just Holloway being Holloway. But now we're starting to really see this kind of, why are you questioning me? Well, we're questioning you because we're not getting the fucking results that we fucking pay all of our money. We're bursting a budget for you to fucking go out there and do it. You've taken control of it all, so you are to blame. It's just, I think, and like you say, the fucking Finley Monroe, I've sworn so much tonight. The Finley Monroe thing is really, really annoying me.
Yeah.
He left nearly 3 months ago now, and he was a lone player, so we were going to lose him at some point. Don't get me wrong, the guy was brilliant, but he wasn't the sole reason we were winning games, and that's all he's doing is, like you say, is destroying Batty. Because, and to be fair to Batty, I haven't. I think I've only seen him play once. But from what I hear on the reports, like, he's probably been, over this kind of really shit period, he's probably been one of the only most consistent players.
Consistent good players,
Yeah. He's getting.
Holloway saying that because we lost Monroe, that's the reason why we're conceding loads from set pieces now. That's definitely not the case, is it?
No,
yeah. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
I just think he doesn't know the answer, but he's too afraid to. He's not going to tell us he doesn't know the answer, but he's almost like too afraid to face up to it. I mean, I look at it and I go, what the? I mean, even if we're talking, and I agree with Liam, like, although I'm a attack-minded coach, you do have to think about, you can't just rely on your attackers outscoring all the time if you're so easily leakable at the back. And I just sit there, but on the opposite side of that, I sit there and go, what do players like Fletcher Holman have to do to get a start? Why wasn't he starting? MK Dons have got what's his face that plays at the back. He's not particularly fast, but players like Fletcher Holman would have a field day against defenders like that. And it's just like, why wasn't he starting? I mean, the bench wasn't particularly strong, with the exception really of Mabete and Holman. It's probably one of the weaker benches we've had this season, but I don't understand the continuous change. And now he's in a rut where he doesn't know his starting 11 and he hasn't got time to figure out his starting 11. That's my biggest problem now. How do we get out of this situation? He needs to find out his starting 11 tomorrow, and he needs to win that game tomorrow, which I'm going to be honest, I don't think we will. And
spoiler.
Yeah. Well, I put Gillingham down as one of the losses in our little prediction things. And it's just like, I don't think, and if we don't win tomorrow, we are in a real big fucking shithole, because now he's then got to think of another 11 to do in the last 8 games. Then it's the last 7 games. Then it's the last 6 games. Then we've got fucking Cambridge, so it's just like, yeah, it rages me because I was such a fan. Like was I know me and Was were on the same fence here. I was a fan of him coming in. I genuinely was. I'm not going to say Grimsby fans told me so because that's a load of bollocks. But managers do different things at different places. But it's at the end of the day, he came in. He came on with a good ethos. We played well at the end of last season. We started playing well this season. He started messing around with it, and then all of a sudden, it just went to pot. And then it was all the fans' fault. Actually, to be fair, he's not blaming the fans as often now, is he? So it's
Yeah, well, that's
but
really
it's
course.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I've been sent a question a couple of times in the chat. I've also had it before the show started, so I'm going to ask it in a second. But just before we do, is there anything else you want to touch on from Saturday specifically before we invite Chris in to tell us just how badly his side are going to dick us this week?
No, we don't need to talk about Saturday anymore. Get Chris in to tell us how Gillingham are going to beat us.
Well, just before we invite Chris in properly, I've seen this question a couple of times in the chat. I've also been sent it at least twice through the Fool's DMs. Should Swindon fail in their objective of promotion, and we'll include the playoffs in this, does Holloway go in the summer? Would he?
We can't afford to. It's he's got 2 years left on his contract after this season.
Mm-hmm.
We can't afford it, and that's the risk that the club have taken. Should he go? Well, yes, because we were fucking. I said to you, didn't I? I said it off. I can't remember if it was on the pod or whatever. If we don't go up this season, we are 10 times worse than what Walsall did last season, because of the amount of money Walsall didn't have the budget that we had, and let's be honest. Regardless of what you think of Holloway should be doing well with this budget. And so should he go? Yes. Will he go? Unless it's by his own accord. No, because we won't be able to afford to sack him.
I don't think he's got it in his head at the moment. And I think you've heard it a few times now that he keeps comparing to where we were last season. And I think even if we don't go up this season, he would still see it as progression from where we were. And this is his argument. And he'll go, well, we've done that last year. We're now into this period. And then next season I can't see him going, no. And I don't think he will. And I agree with Woody with all the finance sides of things. You think all the money that's gone into the budget this season with the players that we bought through the door that are not on the cheap. I just can't see how we can afford to sack him. It would only be on his own accord if he wanted to leave and felt like he couldn't take us any further. That's the only way I can see it.
Yeah. So here's playing journalist, Fifey. Another kind of back end question to that. If Holloway does start to say, well, this is better compared to last season.
By the way, that's already not watching with the Swindon fans.
Yeah. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why as well. If that is the case, he should be challenged on why we signed Hoylett, why we signed Palmer, and why we signed Tafazorli. If he's thinking about just progression year on year, like, don't get me wrong, I love Tafazorli like Was does, and I wanted Palmer to do well. And Hoylett is obviously, if we got him going, maybe if we signed him in August, it might have been a different issue. But why are we signing players like that? Billy Bowden came last year, didn't he? But it's like, why are we signing players like that? And okay, Billy Bowden's included in that. Why are we playing at players like that if the only aim in Holloway's mind, which we know it wasn't, because he's been talking about promotion and getting out of this league, why did we sign players like that if it was all on a short-term basis? So yeah, that's the question that should be asked if he says that, in my opinion.
Well, tomorrow night we have another very ominous-looking fixture, of which we're all going to enjoy, as I said, doing a watch-along while celebrating what we hope will be a season-defining and season-turning-around victory. But as you can tell, optimism isn't that high. Chris, you come on, and we thank you again for your time and waiting patiently for your time to shine. You come on deep in the belief that you want the season to end already, as you've said. You've got nothing to play for, and Swindon could just take the points. You've sat and listened for the best part of an hour to why we're fundamentally flawed in every area of the pitch. You must be fucking confident right now.
No, absolutely not. Like with us, it's a perfect storm with everything, with our injuries, with what's happened, and if he has informed the players about who's staying, who's going, and tools being downed, and and the bad atmosphere around the club, and we're just so easy to play against at the moment. Like I looked the other day, and we got beaten 5-0 by Cambridge, and there was a stat come up on one of the pages that I follow on Twitter, and Cambridge weren't even in the top 5 XG across the EFL. We still got spanked by 5-0. So, it's Ainsworth needs to be careful as well, because the fans are starting to call for him as well. I think last time we conceded 5 in consecutive matches was back in 1953 or 63, something like that. So it's
funny, isn't it? Because you had a reputation for being solid. Ainsworth was being linked with jobs in League One, and funny how a couple of months changes in football.
Yeah, well, I mean, injury is part of it, but I mean, even Ainsworth has started coming out in the last couple of games. The last interview in particular, I watched that one, and he's like, I just don't think some of them are good enough, and the ones that he does want to play aren't fit enough. So it's about manage them back in and stuff like that. But yeah, you have to see who leaves over the summer to figure out who are the problems and what was going on, really. But at this rate, I hope the Gallisons trust him, because we've gone through too many cycles of it's the same cycle year on year. It's pretty much same bunch of players. Like we start off well and then they drop off. We change the manager, comes in, whips them, or motivates them again. They pick up a little bit and earn their new contracts, and it's the same thing year on year. And Ainsworth's come in, and I rate him. I really do. He knows what he's on about. He knows what he's doing. He's had a proper period to assess people, and he's starting to tell a few home truths now. Normally he's really positive and he backs all of his boys and stuff like that, but there's a few fans that are getting fed up with his platitudes, and just nah, just call them out. And I'm like, nah, dressing room is sacrosanct for me. Even if you're thinking it, you don't kind of pull them out in front of the public, really, because it doesn't really do a lot of good. Look what happened with Deeney, so I still rate him and what he's doing, but yeah, with injuries, one of our best players at Cambridge was Waldock, and he's just been recalled from Korea Wanderers, and he's just a youth player, and he's showing the rest of them how to do it. So, and that's the problem. It's not just one or two; it's the majority of players that we've got at the moment not doing everything. Just like you talked about at the start of it, not throwing your body in the line, not the effort, and just not picking up runners, and just I don't even know where to start, because it's all really bad. And Ainsworth does look like he doesn't really, he's a bit bereft of ideas, and again, the chopping, the changing, the centre backs, the goalies, none of us know who's going to be in goal against you on Saturday, because Turner started at MK Dons, conceded 5, then Morris is in, didn't cover himself in glory, and we conceded another 5, and you're just well, we ain't got anybody else, so but yeah, all you guys need to do at the moment is just turn up. If you're fighting for something, we're not. The fight's just
that's our game plan out the window then.
Yeah. So it's not great, and I really hope he can kind of turn it around and get a few results before the end of the season, because they're already calling for his head, and but I don't think it'd do any good. And one of the arguments I've had on X recently is sacking the manager and having a major overhaul doesn't really go well, because you've got to assess the players and know what you're dealing with, and even just the turnover, just changing that many players and you being successful next season, it's not really going to happen. One lad gave the example of NK Dons, and I was just well, they've spent 1.5 million on just one player. That's not going to be us. That's not we haven't got that money, so you need to be careful with these kind of things. But the same players have had the same results year on year, and it does need to change. So. But whether he can turn it around or not, I have absolutely no idea, because it is one hell of a job. So
Sean's noted in the chat that Gillingham looked good at our place earlier in the season. So from then to now, what's changed and what can we expect from you tomorrow? And I know you're already kind of jovially saying we don't know who's going to be in goal, there's chopping and changing, etc. But what's your expectation in terms of maybe players to watch, or how you're going to line up?
So I think
danger areas, that kind of thing.
Put it in any area of the pitch and we'd be in danger, I think. But
I love that every fan guest we have on is just as pessimistic about their club
no,
as
I'm
we are
normally,
on ours.
I'm normally really positive, but like
You are.
yeah, like I'm still positive
Breaks on
about
after a while.
Ainsworth and like what he's doing. I have faith in that, and they can't keep chopping and changing. They just can't. So Hale and Seb Palmer Holden in the long term, I think they'd be a good pairing up top if they can get something clicking, because they've both got tons of energy, and if we can press from the front, then brilliant. So those two, but yeah, Palmer Holden came over the summer, and Hale, like, he can hit a ball and he knows where the goal is. So, but he's just not getting the service like everywhere else. Like, yeah. Yeah, and Dak's had a really good season this season. He's been our best player by far. Just the quality of the lad and dead ball situations, and he can
Good, 'cause we're
dictate
great at
tempo.
defending those.
So if we get the Cambridge, we didn't even have a shot on target. I don't think so. You know, like, was it 0.2 xg against me? So won't worry about that, mate. But I'd like to see Waldock play again, because if he played well on Saturday, and if he's young and got the legs, then it'd be good to like reward persistence and effort, like, you know. But yeah, we've got, as I say, we've got injuries as well, and he's just trying to like manage the minutes with them as well. So the players that he wants to play aren't fit enough, and you know, like, it is a bit of a mess at the moment. So in a couple of weeks it might be a bit different. But say again.
I said that managing of minutes, it's been our curse all of 2026.
Yeah, well, this is like, there's so many things that need to be able to look at, in my opinion. Like, I don't think Ainsworth and Dobbo need to be able to look at just yet, but the recruitment over the years with Jacket and Hess, love Hess, he's a legend, but like, I just don't know how well it's gone. Well, it hasn't gone well, but the physio stuff.
Yes, sorry, I was going to say, on that side of things, Sean's asked, I thought you had a big American investor.
We do, but he put he wrote an article, or part of an article in the Guardian, talking about the sustainability of football, and like, you know, when it can't go on. And we have shelled out a bit of money, but and there was some criticism of him about that.
Yeah, yes, there were, and I'll
it's like, well, hang on, you were one of the main drivers for the inflation of wages and stuff, and like, well, yeah, fair play. So he's not wrong, but yeah, it's a bit late to come out and talk about that. But again, they're just getting to know the system, and it is shocking how many clubs like rinse through the money, like, you know, and they rely on just nice big investors to just give them their money, basically. But yeah.
You were the first drivers of it. Like, it's not even just you were the first ones to do it. That first season that the Gallingtons came in, so I've got the figures here, so I'm ready for this. I wasn't ready for it. No, so, because obviously Brad Marshall, who owned Leyton Orient, called Brad out, and I know Marshall really well, and me and Marshall were talking about it, and you know, so essentially here, that first season, you lost 5.4 million and finished 10th. Leyton Orient won the league and lost 3.2 million. You were the catalysts. Well, that's why you look at Johnny Williams, look at Romeo Hutton. You know, Romeo Hutton was going to Salford, Stockport. Sorry, was going to Stockport. You went and got him out of the hotel. Johnny Williams was sat in a hotel 10 minutes from my house. He'd agreed the deal with Bradford. You went and got him from the hotel, and I spoke to Johnny, because I was working at Bradford at the time when he was on the pitch when you came to Players, and I got in an argument with, is it Max Clark? Is he one of yours? Yeah, I got in an argument with Max Clark down on pitch. He was arguing with me while I was dressed as a fucking chicken. It's like, you're a professional footballer, mate. You look like a knob. And I said to Johnny, I said, like, what happened? And he just went like that. Like, money. You were the catalysts for that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Stockport did it. Wrexham did it. And they would have always done it.
That first season, we were dead and buried. Like, when they came in, we were like 12 points adrift or something like that. We were rock bottom. We'd only scored 6 goals in 18 games or something. I can't remember the exact stats, but we were done. And I was having an existential crisis, because my club was going to go out of the league, and you know what happens then, really. And then that's it, like, you know.
Never to return.
All those years you spent watching them, and all the memories we had, you know, could be gone. So, but they did like throw money at it, and it did like shackle them for the next couple of seasons. And we're still kind of paying for it and working through that now. So, and again, like with with Ainsworth, at least he's got like an eye for talent and he knows what he's doing on that respect. So again, with the recruitment and stuff, I'm quite happy to just like give it over to Ainsworth, just because he can do it on the shoestring as well. He's done it with Wickham. I know it's taken many years, but like he can do it. He's the right profile manager for the right club where we are, because we can't keep spending as we are anyway. So just stick with him, let him do it, and give him another 12 to 18 months and see where it is then. But because it's just been a mess. Like, and again, paying over wages for players that aren't really like, worth it, or there's a lot to sort out there, and they need a bit of practicality in there with a lot of different things. So but as far as I can tell as well, like I think we're still paying the wages, because I kept an eye on like the ones that we've got coming in, and they're not going down, they're just going up, like, but you hope that it's a better quality. And as I say, Hale he looks a player. But even he must be thinking, what have I got myself in for since he's come down? Because it's just been atrocious. So,
well, with what you've just said there, you said it can't go on in terms of like the spending. Do you think Bradley Dack needs to move on in the summer? Because
no, absolutely not.
But again, then it's got to go on, because Bradley Dack is without a shadow of a doubt on a lot of money. There's no way he's not on a lot of money.
He's there or thereabouts. So part of it would have been appearances as well, which I think he's done like fairly well, and he's our top scorer, I think, this year as well. So, but he is Gillingham, and he's getting frustrated with it, and there is an element of worry where even his head can drop with what's going on around him and stuff. But like he's been our best player by far. He coaches the players, like he's getting dead ball situated. He can't get around the pitch as much, but like, and he might be a luxury player, but he's the only one that bloody creates anything, like,
No, it's just the money thing. It's like if you can't keep spending that money, then essentially he's the first one that's kind of got to go to bring that down. It's like a catch-22. You've either got to keep spending that money if you want to keep him, or if you want to bring that wage budget down, he's probably a big chunk of that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I'm very sentimental, and he's playing well. That's the thing, and like the McGoldrick thing with Notts County, that puzzled me last year, because I was like, if you're doing the business, then you need to try and do as much as you can to keep him, and it's kind of the same with Dak, and it'd be just absolutely heart wrenching, I get the money thing, but it'd be sending the wrong message as well. Like there's some fans that would be quite happy to let him go, because he's not, even though he's done well, he's not done as well as people would like or hoped, but with what we've got at the moment, we do need the experienced heads to what you need experienced heads, and you need young and hungry. That's what you need. But again, with the recruitment and identifying players and them being a success, it hasn't worked out for a very, very long time. I don't think there's been any players that we've got in and you see them at a resale value or being better. Saying that, we've had quite a few players that have left us and done well elsewhere. So, yeah.
Always happens. That happens towards ours. Got to Swindon. Got to Swindon and then end up doing well. But yeah, no, I agree. The sentimentality is massive, and I'm exactly the same with Andy Cook. Like, Andy Cook wasn't playing for us, but I was devastated when he's gone on loan at Gillingham, and I know that he's going to leave in the summer, and I'll be absolutely devastated. It'll be a black armband day for me, that, because you do have that sentimentality, but you do. Like, you guys know, look, when McCurdy left you guys, I remember that night, that transfer, that deadline day night when McCurdy left you guys. It was horrible. Like, for a Swindon fan, that was a player that had come in and had essentially, he's an arsehole, but he knows he's an arsehole, but he was your arsehole.
He was our arsehole.
And it was like, you watch McCurdy play for you guys. He'd given you kind of that excitement that you'd not had in, a couple of years. And he was you go back and look at Clem's time at the club, he's probably one of the very few kind of shining lights. Every club has them. You don't want to lose them. But then, you've got to kind of weigh it up. McCurdy obviously went for a big money move. You weren't ever going to match that move. And Bradley Dack's a different one. He's, like you say, he's Gillingham through and through. But that money is probably a lot. And I think Sean just said there, Dack's not one of the top 5 paid players in League Two. But that's because MK Dons have got 3 players on over 12 grand a week. Like, that's just the way it is. It's silly. We've got players. Luton are paying Naki Wells in League One £28,000 a week. 28. This is the difference as well. This is what I mean about the League Two to League One step up. It's massive. the wages available at some clubs in League One, and what you guys did and what Stockport did, and obviously you did it on a smaller scale to Stockport and Wrexham in League Two. But what clubs are doing in League One is just, these are the wages and the budgets for some clubs in League One now are what they were top end of the Championship 10, 15 years ago. And then vice versa, when you look at League Two, clubs at the top end of League One are paying probably definitely lower end Championship wages from 10, 15 years ago. It's just skyrocketed. And yeah, someone else said maybe football clubs can't be sustainable at this level. I think they can. I think football clubs can be sustainable, but you've got to accept no progress. You've got to accept survival as the best that you're going to go for.
Yeah. I think that's some of it with us, is that like, because we had the new owners come in, the expectations just ramped up, and like everyone's just so trigger happy with like sacking the managers and stuff like that. I'm just quite happy that my club's still going, because I remember, like, you know, it was how close it was to not. So I'm still very grateful for that, and they're improving the experience and stuff, and like, you know. But I think with us as well, and others have said it, is that like there's a lot of things that we are and there's a lot of things that we aren't. But the things that we are, we're like hard grafting, we're workers, we run into the grounds, like, and even like when Ainsworth come in, I did a little bit about our identity and stuff, and nobody likes coming to our ground. It's close, it's tiny, like you've got the worst away end
It's horrible.
And you know, we should be a hard team to play against. Nobody likes playing it, and Ainsworth fits that identity as well. You know, the football we've played has never been like really attractive, but it has been, you know, counter attacking has been full throttle at times, like, you know, and blood, sweat, and tears, like with a lot of it. So, and yeah, just recently, like it just hasn't been that. And in his interview as well, Ainsworth said, you know, like some of them players in there aren't Ainsworth players, and I just got to make sure that they are Ainsworth players from next season, like, you know. So hopefully he gets the opportunity. But again, like getting so many players in a short space of time, and like if you're going to do it on the cheap with frees and stuff like that, then are you going to get the people that you want? And like, are they going to be the second and third choice? You know, like there's all these, and the more players you got to get in, the harder it is. So there's all those questions as well. But we just have to see how the summer goes. If he gets through to the summer, that's the thing. I really feel for the guy, because like there is a question about, you know, how much the heart op has affected him as well, and how much stress he can take because of all of that as well. I don't really want to go into that, because I don't think you really, or I don't think you should lose that much. And yeah, you have to change a few bits and pieces, but you're not going to change fundamentally or with your principles. And one of the things that he's always said is that he doesn't need to do everything; he can delegate, like, you know. So, but yeah, there are questions to be asked. But I'm just like, just keep calm, carry on, get through to the end of the season, reset, and go again. Because again, like if you get another manager in now, they've got to make an assessment of the squad. He might want to keep some of them on, and they're really not good enough. It's been 3 years they've done this, and they've seen 4 or 5 managers off. So you just got to start again. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
All right. So whilst we've heard from Chris, he's spoken extensively there about the situation at Gillingham at the moment. What does Swindon do tomorrow to try and turn our feeble fortunes around, and again, I seem to be saying it every episode, but kickstart this promotion bid again? How do we approach it?
Well, a couple of things that I took out from it is that Gillingham for us is always a tough game. There's this rivalry that comes a little bit more from the Gillingham side, in my opinion. I think this is the perfect game for Gillingham tomorrow night. At home, their fans will want it because it's Swindon. I think they'll get a reaction after 2-5-0 or 5-1 or conceding 5 goals. There's got to be a reaction. There must be.
If you get amongst us,
players, yeah.
If you get amongst us in the first 15 minutes, we've had it all season. First 15 minutes of a match, we're just not at the races. We concede. Like if you get amongst us the first 15 minutes, it'll kibosh all of that.
But we're not like that. But at the moment, our mantra is that Holloway seems to think that we don't need to do anything in the first half, and that we can sit off, and that we stay in the game, and then we try to progress in the second. I fear for Swindon tomorrow. I really, really do. I think this is a perfect sort of storm in a teacup for Gillingham. I think it's a reaction game. Their fans are going to be bang up for it. I think there'll be an extra 10% in the ground from it being Swindon. I really do. And I think they'll be bang up for it. And I think if we're not, because I agree that sometimes there's a lot more on the line and we should be more focused and more drilled because of where we are in the table. But that can also flip that it's a no pressure game for Gillingham. They need to see a reaction. Surely it can't be as bad as the last two. So I worry there's no way that I've seen a few in the comments that Swindon should just turn up tomorrow and win. I can't have that. I in this league, I can't have it.
For us, it'd be interesting to see how we perform because it'd be a real good barometer of who does actually care or not. Because there's a lot of questions about how much the players care and all that stuff. And if you can't get up for even a derby, then yeah, you're in trouble. I hope you're right, but I mean, like for me, if we get a draw, I'll be happy because we just need to stop the rot. We need to stop like shipping so many goals. We need to stop the mistakes. We need a bit more fight, a bit more organisation, and yeah. So if we get that, I'll be over the moon. But it's bad at the moment. It is really bad.
Yeah. So Liam, we're hearing from everyone on the panel tonight that it's two bad teams going head to head tomorrow night. Are you expecting an all-time classic League Two encounter?
I can't wait. I really can't wait more because, like, I can't lose in this scenario because if you win, I get to see Ben's positivity go through the roof, which will then be stripped away the next time you lose. And I love nothing more than watching the just seeing the light fade from behind his eyes as he realizes he was wrong again is great. But at the same time, if you lose, I get to watch Ian Holloway make some excuses up about why it happened. And each week that comes, and more it happens, the more and more fans are starting to turn. They're starting to make comments. And the thing with Ian Holloway is Ian Holloway won't just... I've got a little story. So I've been working at Bradford Park Avenue this season. And on Saturday, I've been doing post-match interviews. And I interviewed the manager at Park Avenue after the game on Saturday. They lost 3-1 to Garforth. And I said, what's your message to the fans who are probably a little bit worried now because you dropped out of the playoffs? Yes, a game in hand. What's your message to the fans? And he went, I don't concern myself with what the fans think. And that's very similar to what Holloway says, but at the scale that it would be with you guys, he's constantly looking to dig at you guys as fans. He's constantly looking to get under your skin. He's looking to piss you off. He wants you to be pissed off for some reason. I don't really understand why. There is no unity at your football club, and there hasn't been since he came in. Well, but there hasn't ever been since he came in. There's been no unity at your club. Even when you were doing well last season, he still found ways to dig you guys out, and that's what I can't wait for. I personally think, head or heart, my head says Swindon will win. My heart says I think Gillingham will pip you to it.
Okay. Just before we do confirm the predictions, Woody, what's your take on tomorrow? Whether that's from what Swindon need to do to get the result, whether it's your confidence in Swindon being able to get the result?
Well, you'll see from our prediction, it's probably the first time I'm not very confident at all. What does Swindon need to do to get the result? Play 2 fullbacks, 2 centre backs, 2 fullbacks on the other side as well. So at least we can fucking try and defend that far post. Yeah. What do we do tomorrow? If we're going to win the game, we need to hit Gillingham where it hurts with pace, with the players that know how to find the net. So you're talking, let's get Holman back in there. I wouldn't even say no to putting Billy Bowden in there, to be totally honest. But and obviously, well, Dryden will play anyway. But the
Clark's missing yet another game.
Yeah. Is that a suspension or is that an injury?
I think it's a suspension.
Is it?
Has he been fingering bums again?
Probably.
I don't think he's suspended. I don't think. Well, not that I've heard. I think it's what he come off on Saturday. I think they said it's a calf issue now.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
It's just
what's wrong with his car?
Yeah.
But the I don't know, because I'll sit there and I'll say we don't have any consistency, but then I think looking at that lineup, I've got the lineup against MK Dons now. He's got to change that lineup. So I contradict myself because are we giving the current lineup a chance to settle in? But I can't see what he was looking to achieve on Saturday with that lineup. Oldacre playing wide just doesn't make sense. And he was playing actually wide as well, rather than he wasn't playing like an inside forward, which you could maybe forgive a little bit because he has done that a couple of times. He was literally playing as a winger, and I don't think Darren Oldacre has ever been a fucking winger. So it's obviously he's got to find a fighter. Whatever you think of Ollie Clark, you lose a lot of muscle power if you take him out of that midfield. So he's got to find something else in there. And what the answer to that is, I don't know. Did Tafazorli come off as a bit of a protection to make sure he was able to play on Tuesday? But yeah, I just think we've got to, if we are going to win, for me, Mabete, Holman, get them in and fucking just hit it.
I'd even put the young lad Borland in. If you want a bit of energy and someone that's going to get
Sorry, I think it was Chris was saying about like that kind of. I've ring true with those kind of players that are young and hungry. You know, like Borland. Borland. Don't get me wrong. I think he's ready to play continuously. No, but every time I've seen him, I've seen that bit of fight that he wants to prove something, and I think that's what we're going to need tomorrow. I imagine if Ollie Clark's out, he will be in. He will be in for him. I imagine. I want
to see Hoylett in the middle of the pitch. I don't want to see him out wide. I want to see, like, if you can put Borland and Kilkenny as a 2, and then put sort of Drinnan and Holman maybe as split forwards, and then just put Hoylett in that 10.
And because everybody else thinks it was, Holloway won't do it.
No, he won't.
That's not us saying that we think we're right, because he might do it and it might be proven wrong.
We do think we're right, though.
Well, yeah, but I just think that he talks about, and I said on the last pod, we talk about how much he analyzes the opposition, and it's like he tries to identify the danger areas, but he doesn't actually realize that the opposition, all they're doing is exploiting our weaknesses, and we're not utilizing our strengths. And if we, I'm sorry, I just get so annoyed at Fletcher Holman not starting games, because I just don't understand what he's got to do it. But it's, did he even play on? Oh yeah, he did play. He came on the 62nd minute, but it's and then maybe actually utilize that midfield a bit more, like Wazza was saying. If we get Clark out of there, we're going to have 2 ball playing midfielders in terms of Borland and Kilkenny. Fucking use them.
Yeah.
Use them.
And if you're not going to put Hoylett in there, as horrible as it sounds, I kind of agree with Jay. Maybe you've got to put then an Oldacre or a Bowden in that position.
Yeah.
Like if you need someone, we
need
a bit of creativity, because we haven't got that at the minute. We're struggling with that. We're not the way that we were.
And Man United must be tearing their fucking hair out with Scanlon not getting a look in. I know he didn't impress on his last game, but what's the point of having these loan players if we're not going to fucking use them? We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. But that's what we're going to have to do. I think we need to hit.
Look at a fire alarm going off there, have you, Chris?
No, motion sensor.
All right, let's see exactly.
Yeah, it'd be pitch black if Swindon's defence were there, wouldn't they? Just completely motionless. Lights would go out.
Everyone's had their say on tomorrow. Then let's see what they really think. Walt, I'm going to start with you. What's your score prediction, please?
I just can't see us doing enough. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw.
Okay, Liam?
Muted. I'm going to go 2-1 Gillingham. You guys always score when I do, when you have to do a watch along and I've come on, anything like that. You've always got goals. So I think you'll score.
Okay. Chris?
If we get a draw, I'll be over the moon, but I reckon you'll do it either 2 or 3-1.
Okay, Woody?
For the first time this season, I'm going to predict us to lose. We're going to lose 2-1.
Wow, what a spread of results.
They absolutely disgusted me saying that as well. Did not enjoy that at all.
I always predict us to lose whenever we play Swindon. I always say Swindon will win because then again, I don't lose in that situation. I can always go, I told you. Or we end up winning. I'm like, yeah, we're fucking brilliant. Or we lose 5-4 to a last minute own goal. And I'm sat in
This-
moment.
It really could be anything, but I can't have a show where we have a distinct lack of Swindon wins predicted, given that.
No, Five, you've got to say what
that's-
you actually feel. You can't just say a win because you think that it'll balance it. You've got to say what you actually feel, surely.
Come
'Cause
on,
that
Ben.
shows a sign. That's a sign of the times. That if you're being honest about it here.
Come on, Ben.
Yeah,
So-
come on, Ben.
What I feel is that we will draw the game. It'll be 1-1. However, for the benefit of this, I will say that Swindon. I mean, I said we would win to 0 the MK Dons, and it didn't happen. So let's say that these two really bad defences are going to continue that vein of form. I'm going to say Swindon win a League Two Classic 5-4. See what happens there. Can you imagine the watch along tomorrow if it's fucking 5-4?
Why 5-4, 5? Why could you not have gone for 4-3?
we can score.
Yeah, but why 5-4 though? 5? Why didn't you go for 6-5? Why have you got to bring 5-4 back up?
Because Gillingham love conceding 5.
That's unnecessary.
Sorry,
we
yeah,
love
we conceded.
conceding 4.
Don't worry about it. Listen, we conceded.
Liam, not everything's about Bradford,
no,
mate.
Don't matter.
Right?
We conceded 5 against them. We conceded 5 and then went up.
Now.
Chris, we went up. Don't worry about it. You've got if you concede 5, you've got a cracking last however many games coming. I can tell you.
We're about to have a quick review on what happened on the women's side of the game. But before I do, I'd just like to thank both Liam and Chris for their time this evening. It's been much appreciated to have your opinions alongside ours, looking back and looking forward. Chris, are you going to the game tomorrow?
I don't know. I'm probably not.
Is it?
Yeah, I play 5-a-side on the Tuesday night as well, and I think they'll be a bit miffed if I don't turn up for that. So I'll probably stay and watch it at home. So. Yeah, it definitely will be a better game. We play better stuff than Gillingham have for the last fucking 3 months, I think. So, anyway.
Peter just says 5 is that a first half prediction. Ben, I did see it, and I'm not asking it right now. I will ask him, and I will let you know. I will come back to that. But no, Chris, Liam, thank you very much for your time. We will see you. Well, Liam, it sounds like you've reversed your decision again, and we may well see you tomorrow.
I don't know yet. I'll probably decide at about 6 o'clock tomorrow night, if I'm honest. Well, I'll see. I'll see how many beers I've got in fridge and how many I think I'll need to get through that night.
And Chris, don't be a stranger. Thank you for coming on. Great debut from you. We look forward to chatting to you again very, very soon. You can leave now. You finished work an hour ago.
Yeah. I'm going to go home, have something to eat. Cheers, lads.
See you guys. Woody, it was it was the FRI derby. Big things were happening, and it was a reversal of what happened in the first game. Bassett went behind enemy lines, kept a clean sheet, and won 2-0.
Yeah, and I got blamed for it. Because I was obviously I predicted a Bassett win, and so naturally all of my connections at Corsham said that was your fault. So it's but yeah, I went out to watch the game. It was a horrible afternoon weather-wise. The pitch at one point, I was quite surprised if it was going to hold up, to be fair. But no, it was. It wasn't quite the same as the first game, really. I think probably a little bit more even in terms of possession, and Bassett probably did have the edge on chances, but a lot of the game happened in the middle third. There wasn't too much breaking into either end, and having watched it back, Bassett may have been quite fortunate on their second goal, because there was, I don't want to say a dive, but fell over relatively easily. And then also, I do think it's a foul on the keeper as well. Although when I was watching it there and then, I didn't think it was a foul on the keeper. But watching it back, it was quite obvious to me. there's nothing to say that Caution might have been able to nick it, but I just think on a different. I think Bassett were playing with a vengeance, as I mentioned on Friday. They were going to come at it, and really almost made Caution regret the fact that they beat him a couple of weeks ago. To be fair, some another good performance. Alice Bow from Bouds. Obviously, she got
Bowles got player of the match.
the complete opposite of the FRI curse, wasn't it?
Yes.
So it's she's but
I can tell you something. After that, they'll be clamouring to come on our show because it seems they come on, they get player of the match, and I think she's the first person to get it in successive games this season.
Yeah, it's no, fair play. I think, and also what I'll have to try and see if I can find the highlight, but Millie Powell pulls off a fantastic save off the line as well. Probably not long left. I can't remember if it was 1-0 or 2-0 at the time. I mean, I was just relishing in the fact that Gabby, who plays for me, got player of the match again, and so
she did. I saw that as well.
She got player of the match for me on Saturday, for us on Saturday, and then player of the match on Sunday. So what a weekend for her. So, it was one of those. It wasn't great. I was a bit disappointed with Caution, but to be fair, I got there. The game wasn't being advertised on their fixtures hoarding like it used to be. The bar was shut. The tea hut was shut. They weren't taking money at the gate, which obviously you'd think, oh, that's fine, you're getting for free. But when you've got nobody taking money for the gate, it's a bit of a concern as well. And in case anybody's not sure, Fifey and Waz are very distracted by what's going on in the private chat right now.
No, I'm listening to everything you're saying.
We're listening, mate. We're listening.
But yeah, so
you were very disappointed because the tea hut was shut. No one was taking money on the gate.
I know.
Yes, it's great you can get in free.
I got there. I was really looking forward to a cup of coffee, and I thought, look, have a nice cup of coffee in that cold weather. Stood round by Rich. I stood round by their dugout in the first
Click
half.
That.
Yeah.
Just so we can share on socials that Woody slags off women's football.
I'm not slagging off women. I'm slagging off the club. But
Woody slags off Caution in FRI Derby disaster.
Yeah, I stood round by Rich. That was quite comical for the first half. But yeah,
was he wearing his luminous boots again?
He was, of which I was with Alex from Chippenham, who ribbed into him again for it as well. So he's got to learn. I hope he watches back this episode. But Rich, you need to go and invest in some black boots, mate. To be fair, if you're going to coach on the side,
can't be taken seriously as a coach otherwise.
No, yeah. So no, but yeah, it opens it up though, doesn't it? It's definitely going to be an interesting end to the season, I think.
And I'm just waiting. Have I got? I was going through the pictures that were shared on Instagram, and this one did make me chuckle because Rich looks fucking massive.
Yeah, he does. He does. You shared it in the group, and he's like, "What are you sharing that for?" And I'm like, and I'm thinking, because mate, you look like a fucking fully blown wrestler there.
Fifey, going back to the thing, if we're going on about pictures, I thought this one really done it. It showed Taff being a bit done, didn't it?
Yeah, I love that. If you haven't seen the quote, it's really funny. If you can't read it clearly, the quote says, "We've seen what MK Dons have done, losing only 1 in 18 games. So if they can do it, then why can't we?" By Ryan Tafazorli. To which Joe, who by the way has promised an imminent return to FRI, he points out because there's only 9 games left, right?
It's very good from Joe, that.
John says, Waz has had a haircut and a beard trim today.
No, not today, mate. No, I had a haircut and beard trim on Thursday last week, and he sat next to me on Saturday at the game, so I don't know how he's not noticed. But I did have a hat on actually, but yeah, he would have still seen the beard.
Sticking with women's football, Woody, let's go to events at the county ground. Swindon Town win again. That's not necessarily a surprise. But finally, because that was the game in hand, have got their rightful place at top of the league.
Yeah, great stuff for them, isn't it? It's now it's kind of I'm not going to say theirs
It's
to
theirs
lose.
to lose.
It's more of a theirs to try and keep hold of now. So because if they keep on going on that trajectory, that it might not go down to that last game of the season against Moneyfield, up against a dastardly Moneyfield. So it's very good win for them. Obviously, mixed emotions from me, I guess, but
In the
good,
Woody Derby.
good 5-0 win. Cole Annie getting on the score sheet after 5 minutes, I guess, was probably setting up the day nicely for him. But yeah, 2 goals from Annie, another goal from Lacey Liggett, which she seems to be a bit of a hidden gem, I think, this season. Like I've known her for a while, but she's definitely getting into that midfield goal scoring habit at the moment, which is, I guess, great for Swindon. And then good old Billy as well. I'm sure I haven't actually looked at the goals, but I'm going to guess that one of Billy's was definitely a set piece. But yeah, it's 5-0 win. Good for them. Not so good for Abingdon, but I think Abingdon are quite solidly mid-table team this year. So, but yeah, it's and I agree with Sean. Sean, if I'm available, I will probably do the same. If it is the decider, I think I'll find myself down in Portsmouth as well to watch.
I was literally about to ask. My geography's not the strongest at the best times, but when a team isn't named after the place they are, where is Moneyfields?
Yeah, so it's down Portsmouth way. In fact, Portsmouth use Moneyfield's ground for training. I can't remember if it's their foundation. So, but I know pretty sure Portsmouth women train there as well. So, yeah, it's Portsmouth way. They've just had a 3G. They had a 3G put in either this season or the season before. So, which is good because that pitch was fucking atrocious when I went down there. So, yeah, good. It's good stuff. And who was it that I mentioned that went down there? Oh, that used to play for us. Might have been Vincent Pericar, possibly played Grace the Land as well once upon a time.
There you go.
Just a bit of trivial knowledge. I'm sure it was Vincent Pericard.
Well, congratulations to Swindon Town women and to Bassett for your victories this weekend. Commiserations to Caution. We are back tomorrow for the watch along, and then. What else have we got going on this week? You would have heard me mention a few times, and you would have seen me trialing a few bits as well. The first of the spin-off show, which has FRI names, but isn't strictly FRI stuff, of our Late Limbs FC. Our pilot episode will go out Thursday. That will be on our YouTube and Twitter channels. Old School Champ Manager with a load of recognisable FRI names edited into the squad. Can me and my mate lead us to glory? We'll soon find out. And then we'll be back on Friday for our proper preview show as well. Again, thank you to our guests tonight. Thank you to everyone in the chat. If you are travelling tomorrow, as we always say, travel safe, be loud, be proud, and please, for the love of God, bring home some points. And if you aren't going, then please do come and join us for the watch along. I'm led to believe there will be a handful of fools in attendance. We also, as always with watch alongs, open it up. If you fancy doing what we do and you want to show us how to do it properly, because after 5 years we're still not that great at it, at times anyway, then by all means I can send you the link. You can come on and you can have your say as well. I will definitely be there on hosting duties, and I'm looking forward to seeing us romp home, because if Chris says it, then Gillingham really must be shy, and we simply have to win. there's nothing else for it. We simply have to win. But for myself,
he makes it sound like they're on the beach already, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly the type of scene Swindon loses to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, did you see the comment earlier? He said, I think he said, you've heard of Spursy. It would be the real Swindon-y thing to do, to go and lose to a team that conceded 10 goals in 2 games.
5-0, and we'll lose 5-0.
On that note, from myself, from Woody, from Woz, and from everyone else at FRI HQ, have a great week, everyone. Some of us will see you tomorrow. All that's left to say, come on, you Reds.
Fools rushing! Yeah, we're back again, like mates down the pub. Heart on sleeve, never tame. Yeah, from the chanting in the stands to the tackles flying in. Home and away, red blood, white shirt, where the fools rush in. Passion, debate, slaps, rants, late nights, Woody, Ben, Nick, Rich, Walter, Kieran, side by side, Craig and Ned, Joe and Mark, Art, Gary in the dark, and now we got Barry in. Yeah, the gang's all in.
Fools rush in like we're chasing one more win. We'll make you laugh, make you cry, feel happy, feel angry inside. Fools rush in like a last minute swing, just like back in Swindon time.
We go up, we fall down. From the goals that lift the roof, cue the grows when it goes wide. We argue, we agree, but you're all here on the right. Fight by jumping in the chat, every story, every stat. Thank you for watching, for listening, commenting back. Save our tires on the board, and us recruitment in our corner. This is our club, our crowd, turn it up a little louder.
Fools rush in like we're chasing one more win. We'll make you laugh, make you cry, feel happy, feel angry inside. Fools rush in like a last minute swing, just like back in Swindon time.
We go up, we fall down. Fools rush in.